Includes 1,200 credit on any new lease and no payments until December 2020. Plus, you save hundreds with no upfront taxes. Auto by Rent, the smart choice.
You know, if you've been watching our show on a regular basis over the years, that Julie Baumgardner from First Things First is a very frequent guest on the show. We're always glad when she pays us a visit. And this morning, listen up, because if you are among the throngs of people who is either avoiding family conversation because of politics, afraid to turn on the TV because of politics, and you have kids and you don't know how to help them navigate the waters, thankfully, Julie is here this morning. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So it's true. I mean, I have the only child still at home is my now almost 16-year-old daughter. So she's old enough to be interested in everything. And very frequently she'll come downstairs, the TV's on in the kitchen, and we'll sit and talk. But it's hard to explain to her that the tone of things that she sees today is really not always what it's been.
That is so true. In fact, I was walking the other night and ran into some neighbors, and they said, yeah, we were just having conversations with Democrats and Republicans, and we were just kind of talking about how it's just not how it used to be. But I see this really as an opportunity for us as adults to guide our children through this election process and to help them understand, why do people feel so strongly? I mean, in every direction, it feels very intense and people are very passionate. So this is an opportunity to help them get educated and to understand, how does our country run? What does it mean that we're the United States of America? What is the Electoral College? What does that mean? Does your vote count? What a privilege that is. I mean, there's just lots of ways that you could have conversations about this.
There are lots of ways, and I don't mean to sound insulting here, Julie, but in all fairness, if you're talking about a civics lesson, I think there are people watching who would say, for a number of years, there's a large part of our population that may not have been given the civics lesson. True.
And so, let's roll. I mean, we've got opportunity right now to do that very thing, to do it in your home and to have really great conversations. How do you not take headlines at face value? Where do you go to look for accurate information? How do you become a critical thinker? What kinds of questions can you ask when you hear someone say something? Understand it could be their opinion, and their opinion may be legit for them.
Right.
And so what do you know about what they're talking about so that you can have an actual educated conversation?
Again, I don't mean to get political, but the other day, the Supreme Court hearings were on.
Right.
And so Amy Coney Bryant had her presenting statements to the Senate, and something in there that she mentioned kind of caught my ear, because it's been a long time since I was in civics class as well. And in her opinion, her judicial opinion, the courts are there to not interpret the law, to not make the law, but to let that be the purview of the Congress, the creation of the law. And I thought, you know, just that very conversation would be a good thing to have at the supper table, to remind everybody, I don't care what your age is, of our three branches of government, and really talk through how you see them functioning, and do they function the way you think they should.
Definitely. And the other opportunity that you have is, even as people are learning and uncovering information, there may be disagreements around the family table, and teaching children that we can disagree without being disagreeable. In other words, we can have civil discourse about all kinds of topics, and we don't have to shove our chair away from the table at the end of the conversation and be hateful towards each other. I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of people are walking away from important, precious relationship over these issues. And, you know, to me, that's one of the big differences from years ago. People disagreed vehemently, but when push came to shove, relationships actually were more important. And I see people burning bridges all over the place when it comes to their relationships with the kind of cancel culture that we're in right now. If
Right.
you don't like me, if you don't agree with me, then we can't be friends. But that's what makes life rich.
Well, come on, let's face it. I mean, the social media is a huge part of it. I
Yeah.
mean, people who are sitting there on their sofas throwing out their opinions on whatever political event they have at the moment, and how can that
Right.
help but offend the other side, who very
Yeah.
well could be your friend?
Yes, I mean, it's true, but that's where we've got to be big enough to say, you know what, you are entitled to your opinion, just like I'm entitled to mine. I have reasoning behind why I think the way that I do, and I think it's an opportunity to be curious. Why do you think that way? What brought you to that conclusion? And to discuss versus argue.
Well, let me ask you this one, because we're on the cusp of the holiday season, so I know Thanksgiving is going to look different this year anyway.
Right.
Not as many families might be getting together as in years past with a large group of people, but the election will be fresh.
Yep.
When we sit down to that Thanksgiving dinner. Is it fair to say, hey gang, especially for my kids' sake, let's don't talk politics at the table?
I mean, I definitely think that that's fair game. It could be that you might discuss it later, but we're going to actually focus on each other and just being together and the fact that we're here, and appreciate that, and just kind of keep the politics away from the dinner table. I totally think that that's legit. Others may find that they can actually have these discussions and do them in a healthy way where they honor the relationship, and at the same time they honor the fact that it makes our lives richer that we all don't think exactly the same, exactly alike on all of these issues.
What about the idea of ganging up? I know that a lot of people have right, a lot of people have family dynamics where maybe most people lean one way and there's that errant one or two who see things differently, or a friend group. If you know that you're in the majority of the opinion, isn't it just proper etiquette and courtesy to not bring it up for the one or two who may see things differently?
Well, at the end of the day, I think it just goes back to how much do you value the relationships that are around this table. Family is going to be family for forever. These elections, they're going to come and go. People are going to come and go. But your family and loved ones, they matter more. And so I think keeping that in mind, and if they matter more, then we wouldn't gang up on. I mean, most discussions that I see taking place, the whole idea is I'm going to get you to change your mind versus I'm going to be curious about how you came to this conclusion and why you have made these decisions. And then I want to be in a relationship, so I'm going to figure out how to have conversations with you and be big enough to know that if things get so heated that we're not doing either person justice in the relationship, that we're going to call a timeout and walk away from that so that we can be civil with each other.
Do you know the Broadway musical Into the Woods? Do you know
I
that show?
do. I've actually seen it a long time ago.
I have too. And so there's a lyric in there of Stephen Sondheim's, and it's careful the things you say, children will listen.
Yes,
So be
you're
very
modeling everything you're doing. You're modeling for children, and if you can actually let them see you disagree and be still in relationship, it's a powerful thing, because what they're seeing right now on television and everywhere else is if we don't think alike, then we can't be in friendship, relationship.
Well, you're my friend. I'm going to leave it right there.
And you are mine.
Julie
Thank
B
you.
to Julie B, thank you so much as always.
Thank you.
You can always learn more about the great things they have to offer your entire family by going to the First Things First website. It's pretty simple, firstthings.org. Their phone number 267-5383. We're back after this.
Next, Drew. She's fierce. She's gorgeous. She's funny, too, of course. Sharon Stone. Plus,